So it's, I would say, somewhere around 75 or so. It's probably when the first 12-inch records started coming out.
Right.
I don't know for sure. I think the Checkers' Undecided Love was one of the first ones.
This is a constant source of debate.
Yes, it is.
People, there's always, somebody always says certain things where it's
you
the
had
12-inch
that,
first.
yeah, exactly. There are a number, debates about that. And does it really matter?
No.
Maybe to someone,
right.
You know. All the DJs knew is that 12-inch records, they were longer, they had a better mix to them, okay, and the sound quality. It basically had to do with the sound quality of the record, okay, because being able to spread out 6 minutes, you know, the grooves across that record created a much better sound, okay. And of course, you know, everyone wanted their paws on them, you know. So it was somewhere around that time there that the Boston record pool began, okay. And John Luongo, who was playing over at the Rhino, in the Rhinoceros Club, which was in the financial district that later turned into Somewhere, etc. He was, you know, straight funk type of DJ, who, of course, you know, went on to be instrumental in remixing songs.
Sure, I've seen his name in a lot of the Facebook groups and stuff too. Yeah.
Oh, but
mentioned in.
I mean, do you know the records that he has?
Not off the top of my head, but I mean, he's always mentioned in reference to certain songs on.
Oh yeah. He is. He's right up there with Tom Moulton. Okay, when it comes to remixing songs, and John was the one that galvanized the DJs and brought them together. And we had a meeting. Oh, by the way, let me just go back to 1975 for a second, because I was my senior year in college, and enough was enough, and I said, I need to get into this. So I got myself a job at Randolph Country Club. Okay.
So Randolph Country Club was
that was my first job.
And it was there then. It was. Okay. I didn't know when it even started or when it.
In 1975, I started playing records at Randolph Country Club, and Freddie Bose was a waiter.
No kidding.
Yeah, Freddie Bose.
So he wasn't a DJ himself.
No, he wasn't. Not at that time. And I worked at Randolph Country Club through the latter half of my senior year in college on the weekends, and through the summer. Now, in the summer, I was back home with my parents up in Andover, and I was driving from Andover to Randolph every Friday and Saturday, getting paid only $15 a night, and spending way more than that on records.
Sure.
You know, it all came to a ugly finish.
Yeah.
Somewhere near the end of the summer.
I had an ugly finish at Randolph Country Club. I DJ'd there once for about a year. Yeah.
Well, I had played Barry White's "Can't Get Enough of Your Love, Babe." You know, I probably played it twice already. You know, it's like, you know, how many records do we have back then to even play? And someone wanted to hear something, and it's like, I already played it. You know, already I was getting an attitude.
Well, you know.
You know, and the owner came over and she said, she spends a lot of money in here, and if, you know, she wants to hear a record, you're going to play it. I went, oh, really? And I looked down at what I was playing, and I said, I have 2 copies of this, and I just dragged the needle across the record and walked out.
Wow. You know, it takes a lot of nerve.
That's the only time I did something like that.
I mean, I think every DJ probably has that in them at least once who wants to do that for sure. Not everybody has the nerve to do it because you don't know what, you know. But so playing the same record more than once in a night. I know there are some DJs who have a real sort of an opposition to playing either the same song more than once a night or playing music by the same artist in once a night, more than once a night.
Well, no, more. Well, back then we considered it sort of tacky if you back-to-backed artists.
Okay.
Okay, some people thought it was tacky. Some people were like, does it matter?
Right.
You know, if the crowd is happy,
right,
who cares?
Right.
You know, but some would say, you know, it's like, oh, that's kind of like a cop out or
right.
whatever.
And this is before medleys too, which
yes.
you know, you could actually buy a DiscoNet mix that was a medley of like 15 songs or whatever. Yeah.
And as far as the what was the other thing that you had mentioned?
Oh, well, playing a song by the same artist or the same
playing
song
a song twice. You know, well, see, early on, you only had just so many records. I mean, like I said, Jimmy only had like you know 3 bins behind him or something, and some stuff on the floor. You know, so and plus they were 3 and 4 minute songs.
Sure.
You know, the 45s were very short,
right.
so you're going through them very, very quickly. You know, the number of records that you would go through in a night. So, you know, what was so wrong about playing something early, you know, getting the crowd going, and then later, you know, pulling out some of that?
Because it was turnover anyway, so a lot of the people weren't there that had been there earlier.
And if the song was hot enough, first of all, you're not going to play a song twice that isn't hot.
Right.
Okay? So if you do play it twice, they've enjoyed it. You know, it's like, it's not like someone's going to say, well, I played this before.
Right.
I'm not going to dance to this.
Right.
Well, you liked it the first time.
Right.
Why aren't you going to like it now at 1 o'clock or
right.
1:30?
And then you're probably drunk by then. And
exactly.
All, yeah. So you have this end at Randolph Country Club, and where does that take you from there?
Well, at the end of August of '75, the beginning in September, I actually had I signed up with a temporary agency for a job. I decided after I did student teaching, I didn't really want to teach the kids.
At least not those kids.
No, and I had a degree in theater from Bridgewater. That just was a degree from theater in Bridgewater. Yeah. But so I had several relatives that worked at MIT. I tried to get a job there, and they're like, "Yeah, sorry, you don't have any experience." And a friend of mine signed up with a temporary agency, and so I said, well, I'll try that. Well, the first assignment they gave me was MIT. And then by the end of September, I was hired, and now 38 years later, I'm still there.
You are still there?
Yeah. And I've had a good career at MIT over the years. I mean, I started out as a senior office assistant, and I'm now director of administrative computing for the dean's offices.
Right.
So I've always had that going on, okay? But my night was a different story, okay? And from 75 to 95, I was playing in clubs, okay? One place or another. And it was interesting because then as my MIT career began to come up, the career as a DJ, the nights just kept getting, you know, less and less. Okay, until it just crossed. Right. And you know, I like security. Can you tell? So you know, there was a time there where when I was working at Faces, when we opened up Faces in 76. That I was working 5 nights a week. Okay, well, I was working at MIT Monday through Friday, and then I was working at Faces Wednesday through Sunday. Okay, so I never had a full day off. I had 2 nights off, 2 days off. You know, that was it. And I did that for several years before we started to make some changes and things.
And Faces was primarily a straight bar, is that right?
Oh, it was totally a straight bar.
Yeah, it was a straight bar.
Yeah.
But this is when disco was starting to peak.
Oh, yeah. This is still pre John Travolta.
Right.
But let's just get back to where we were. Cabaret, Styx.
Yeah, we should talk about
Styx a little bit. And Deejay. Deejay was the persona that was bigger than life, I think. He was very, very grand, etc. And he was, as I said, he was edgier than Jimmy was. You know, so I would go and listen to both, okay? And what I would do is I would write down the songs that they were playing in a row, Okay, and then like I said, I would go back to the radio station and work them out. I still have those notes to this day. Getting back to my podcast page for a second, we're bouncing all over the place.
That's okay.
What I did with those two sets, Step Back in Time 1 and 2, they are both an homage to Jimmy and Dana. Okay? Because for the most part, most of those mixes are their mixes that I remember.
You recreated them.
And I recreated them. Okay? Some of them, and some of them are from those sheets that I still have today.
Mm-hmm.
And I used those, and I knew in my head. I think many DJs have a memory for, if they heard something that was particularly wonderful, or ear-catching or something, you don't forget it. So, Jimmy had a tendency to do word blends, sometimes. And one of them is on that set where it's in the bottle into Archie Bell and the Drells, Let's Groove. And at the end of In the Bottle, Gil Scott-Heron says, yeah, right here, let's groove. It's like, the words.
So it becomes together. A different sentence.
Yeah, yes, exactly. I remember I used to do a word blend many, many years later with In Private, Dusty Springfield, into Hold On to My Love. Because at the end of the record, she would say, what you're going to say in private, hold on to my love. Okay.
And you have to time it out just so.
Oh, yeah. And of course.
On vinyl.
Yes, on vinyl, exactly.
Yeah.
But, it works.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And it was all, as a matter of fact, I recall, Michael Fearman, New York. Evolution of the Dance, I think it was, one of those.
I really should go to one of those.
Oh, you should. Yeah. You should. He did a mix that was a word blend. And I can't remember the first song, but then it went into Mug Arthur's part where she says, I recall the yellow something dress.
Right.
But I
so word
sent off a message to Michael Fearman. Nice word blend.
So you don't hear him as much at all anymore, obviously.
No.
It was more common then.
Don't get me started.
I know.
Because
Well,
today it's just banging of pipes, steam noises on top of a beat.
Yeah.
That's what I pretty much seem to hear out there. Not that I should say that because I don't go out.
Well, I would love to talk about that someday because I think that that's a whole interesting topic to me about what people think now about it versus what they experienced then, because I think that the notion of blended technical skill required to make a word blend on vinyl, to be able to know where those beats lined up, measured out, those,
Well, sometimes it just happened too, so it's like, oh, wait a second, I didn't know that was going to happen.
Now, Val talks about a blend book. He uses the phrase blend book, which is that you would keep track of things that sounded good together.
Oh, no. I would write down every single song. I have God only knows how many of those books. I would record every night, what I played. From beginning to end.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if things worked really well,
a little star next to it.